Hello, so today I'm going to show you how to install an NVMe SSD, in this case a Samsung SSD, in a MacBook Air from 2013 up to 2015, or a Retina MacBook Pro from 2013 up to 2015. So many of you will wonder why to install an NVMe SSD. So let's say that the SSD, the original Apple SSD on your MacBook Air or MacBook Pro broke. You can either buy an original Apple branded SSD, which is going to cost from around $50 up to $75 or $80 for the lowest configuration, which is 128 gigabytes. Or even if your SSD didn't break, but you want to have more storage or a faster SSD, you are going to need an alternative, because SSDs, Apple branded SSDs, are more expensive than regular NVMe SSDs, which are generally faster than the original Apple branded. So you may wonder why a Samsung NVMe SSD. So in my personal experience, I have noticed that only Samsung branded NVMe SSDs work. I'm not saying this is entirely true, but that's what has worked with me. Well, what else do we need? We need an NVMe M.2 SSD adapter for MacBook, which is around $5 to $6 depending on where you buy it. I always buy my things on eBay, which are always cheaper. The disadvantage is that before you can install an NVMe SSD in your MacBook Air or MacBook Pro, you have to upgrade the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro operating system to High Sierra or Mojave. If you don't do this, the NVMe SSD will not get recognized on the operating system, therefore you cannot install the operating system, or it may get recognized, but you are not going to be able to boot from this SSD. So saying that, let's start with the process to install the SSD. So initially what you have to do, and I already did this, is install High Sierra or Mojave with your original Apple branded SSD. After that, you have to unscrew all these screws over here from the bottom case of the computer. After you have removed the screws from the bottom case, you will lift the case, and right here you can see the SSD. Right here you can see the SSD, which is attached to the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro only with one screw. So you will take out this screw. After that, you would simply have to lift the SSD. Then what you have to do is that you are going to grab the adapter. This is the adapter. I will put a link on the description to this adapter. You are going to slide it in the MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. It will only go in one direction, so don't worry about putting it incorrectly. And then you have the SSD. In this case, it's a Samsung SSD. Other brands may work, but for me, only Samsung branded SSDs have worked. So what you do, also, only the Samsung SSDs that have one notch have worked with me. So you slide it in there, and then you put the screw in there. Okay, as you can see, I already screwed it back into place. So now what we have to do is put the bottom case of the MacBook Air back in, and we will turn on the computer. And I will show you how to reinstall the operating system. Okay, so to reinstall the operating system after you install the SSD, we are going to do it through internet recovery. So to do this, what we have to do is that we have to press the Command and Option key and also the R key, as well as turn on the computer. Now we are going to wait till it turns on, and you will arrive to starting internet recovery. And for sure this may take a while. So after you see that, you can wait till you see the installer of the operating system. Eventually, after waiting, you will arrive to this screen. So this is the installer of macOS. So what you have to do is that you will come to Disk Utility, Continue, and over here in internal you will see the SSD. In my case it says SSD just because I had already formatted it before, but for you it will say Samsung and some letters or the model of the SSD. You will select it, click Erase, and you will select APFS. You can also name it whatever you want to do, and you will hit Erase. You're going to wait till it says done. Then click done, close this, and click on reinstall macOS. After that, you click continue. This is gonna take some time. Agree, agree, and you will select the SSD that you installed. In this case, it's named SSD. And after that, you click install. In my case, I don't have it connected to a power source, so I will have to do that. Then you just have to wait till the operating system is installed in your computer. I will pause the video here and I will show you when everything is done. Okay, eventually after the operating system is completely installed, you arrive to the settings screen, and you just have to set up and create your account, and your MacBook Air or MacBook Pro is ready to use.